So, you want to make a Dreamscape for the Beatles rock band, huh? Well, first you're going to need to know some things before you do so. But it's great that you want to learn. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're just watching this for entertainment reasons. I don't know. Hopefully this guide will be useful on your Beatles rock band custom making journey. What exactly is a Dreamscape? Well, a Dreamscape is a visual that plays in the background of a song. These are in songs that take place in the studio. Dreamscapes use post-processing effects along with green screens to make the Dreamscapes, well, Dreamscapes. You also use mini venues, which are stages that don't take place in the studio. They aren't like live venues, so they won't have any crowds, except for Sgt. Pepper. So how does one start on making a Dreamscape? Hopefully you have mackiloha, whatever, because you're going to need that to start making Dreamscapes. This guide will not cover on how to install that because, well, I'm lazy. So with this program, you want to put in the command p9 song tool, new project, -n, temporarysec, project _ temporarysec. You can just copy and paste this from the description. I don't really need to say this. Replace temporarysec with whatever name you want to put in. Same with the project _ temporarysec. Once you press enter, it should say that it created the lip sync and venue directories and wrote them venue.mid and song.json. If it doesn't say this, well then you did something wrong then. Hooray, you made your own Dreamscape project. Woo! Alrighty, now we can get started. Actually, before you do that, let's take a look at that project file you just made. So what do we have here? Well, we have an extras folder, a lip sync folder, a song.json file, and a venue.mid file. What's that extra folder for, you may be asking? Well, that's for when you have custom textures for custom outfits, or even a custom model. The lip sync folder is for, well, lip sync. This is where you will put the Beatles lip sync when you get those files. The song.json file is where you specify what outfits the Beatles will wear, what mini venues and green screens will be used, which instruments will be used, configuring the lyric cuts, we'll get to those soon, specifying the song clips, we'll also get to those soon, and specifying the amps they use. Okay, so basically it just holds the information for the Dreamscape. You get the idea. Let's go over this while we're at it. Alrighty, so first thing you should do is put in the name of the song you're making the Dreamscape for in the name row. Now for the venue. Leaving it as a Dreamscape means it will take place at Abbey Road or the studio. However, you can change this to be Cavern, Sullivan, Shea, or Budokan. Mini venues are like what I said. Ooh, eBay. Mini venues are like what I talked about a few minutes ago. This is where you add the mini venues so you can use them in the Dreamscape. Now for scenes, which is green screens, this is where you add the green screens so you can also use those in the Dreamscape. Dreamscape outfits are outfits you tend to use when you switch to a green screen or a mini venue. Studio is the outfit the Dreamscape will usually start off with. This is the outfit that is used within the Abbey Road studio. And now for the Beatles instruments. This is where you will specify which instruments the Beatles will use. The first instrument you put in counts as instrument 0. The second is instrument 1, the third is instrument 2, and so on and so forth. Keep this info in mind as we will use instrument 0 later. The tempo is what the tempo of the animations will be. Certain animations can only use certain tempos. Some special mocap animations can only use a fast tempo or a slow tempo. For song clips, this is where you can use special events that are usually made for certain songs. Such as for Ringo, there are some special mocap animations for fills he does in specific songs, or even solo mocap animations. For the Dreamscape font, this is where you can specify which font you want to use for your custom. The fonts are listed here on the screen now. For the Beatles amps, you can choose which amp each Beatle uses. This doesn't really affect the Dreamscape that much, but I guess you can change if you want to. Same with the mixer, it's kinda, You don't really need to change it, but it's good, I guess. I'm not too sure what Dreamscape camera really does, but I believe it changes the camera's speed. You could correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's what it does. For a lyric part, this is the vocal part the lyric cuts will display. So if there are words you want the lyric cut to display that are in the second vocal part, you would put in part harm 2. Below that is where you would put the coordinates for the words to appear. I'm not sure how this works either, so we'll just skip that. Finally, we are done with going over the song.json, and we can finally start on making the Dreamscape itself. Okay, now let's open that venue.mid file with Reaper. I hope you got Reaper because, well, that's what we're going to use to make the Dreamscape. Upon opening the venue.mid file, you will notice there are 5 tracks: Paul, John, George, Ringo, and the venue. Those tracks control the whole Dreamscape. So let's first start off with the venue track. You will see that there's nothing here, so let's fix that. The first event you would want to put in is scene trigger Abbey Road 01 default. This is what will establish where the Dreamscape will take place. If you don't have this event, the custom will not stop when the song is completed. The second event you will want to put in is Dream Outfit Hist. Remember in the song.json you had to specify which outfits you wanted to use? This event will tell the Dreamscape to use whichever outfit you want it to display. For this instance, we're going to be using the outfits you want to be displayed when the Dreamscape is in Abbey Road, or Studio. Oh, and make sure all these events you're placing down are text events. If you accidentally make one of these events a track event, this will lead to problems. The third event you want to add is config, kp9, whatever. This will specify the configuration you want to be used. The config is the mic configurations the Beatles will be in. For example, kp9 keyboard Paul. This will show Paul at his piano/keyboard instrument with the other Beatles using normal instruments. The appropriate mic will be given to Paul. Another config example is kp9 George John Paul. This will have all but Ringo standing up with their appropriate mics. The fourth command you want to put in is a camera angle event. Examples of camera angle events would include G near, P close up head, GJPR near, or R close up hand. These are pretty easy to remember. A camera angle many people use in the beginning of their customs is called no band, which doesn't display John, George, Paul, or Ringo. A near camera angle displays the Beatle at a medium shot. A close-up head camera angle will display the Beatles' head at a close-up angle. Kind of self-explanatory. GJPR near will display all of the Beatles at a medium shot. The close-up hand shot will display a Beatles' hand with a close-up camera shot. The last command you will want to put in is a post-processing event. This can be any post-proc you want, but I recommend you just put in film.16mm.pp. PP, get it? Get it? Finally, we have a starting point. Let's take a look at those Beatle tracks. Of course, when you open one of those tracks, there will be nothing in it. So let's put a idle_real-time event in there. This will make the Beatle play an idle event. This is used when the Beatle is not currently playing anything. Now, of course, you don't have to put an idle real-time event. You can just have them in their play state, which is when the Beatle is in their bopping stage and they're ready to play their instrument. But putting in the idle_real-time event just makes the Dreamscape better. Okay, so now you have all that set up. Say the music is starting and you want the Dreamscape to change the stage and have some cool stuff going on. For that, let's go back to the venue track. Go to where you want the stage to change and add a scene trigger whatever stage you want. This will make the Dreamscape go from a studio to a mini venue. Make sure to go back and add that mini venue to the song.json or else it won't go to that mini venue. Well, that's cool and all, but I want the transition to the stage to look a little prettier, you might be saying. Yeah, let's do that. If you want a transition post-proc, then you want to put in transition_white or any color .postproc. This will make the screen go all white. Before you do anything else, copy and paste the film_16mm.postproc and put it anywhere near the transition_white.postproc event. The reason for doing this is because post-processing events will blend. So without that duplicate film event, the Dreamscape will just slowly fade to white. However, with that duplicate, it will transition like normal. However, you don't have to use just transition underscore whatever color dot postproc. You can pretty much use any post-processing event as a transition, but there are a few that are better for transitioning than others. Another good one for transitions are bloom events. They're like what you see in Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds Dreamscape. Also, make sure to put another post-processing effect somewhere after the transition post-proc. Now when you want the Beatle to be ready to play once the music starts, go to a Beatle track and add a play event. You can also use a thing called a hist clip. These trigger different animations or make a Beatle be in a certain state. For this case, we will have them ready to play their instrument. Before you add the event hist clip parentheses. This will tell the Dreamscape that there are no hist clips playing. Use the idle underscore real time event placed. Once the music starts, you can then add hist underscore clip, song, DLC, play, intense, O2, whatever, you know. You don't have to do that one, of course. There are a bunch of these hist clips, ranging from mellow to intense. That's what the int stands for, duh. For some reason, these events will trigger only when the camera switches angle, so add a different camera angle once the music starts. Alrighty, I think you can get the gist from here and start doing Dreamscape stuff. But let's go over some extra things before I let you loose. On the topic of clips, you might want to know about song clips. Song clips are, like I described before, used for specific songs. His clips are also like that. Like the I got blisters on my fingers part in the Helter Skelter Dreamscape, that's a hist clip. More specifically, hist clip song ending. Oh, and there's also keyboard hist clips. You can use these to make a Beatle play the piano or be idle on the piano. DC cuts are special little cuts that can be exclusive to different venues. Live venues have different DC cuts like a crowd cut or a roof cut. Dreamscapes have way more cuts you can use, such as drum kit cuts, interact cuts, look at cam cuts, lyric cuts, remember that lyric cut info you just filled out in the song.json, wave cuts, trio jam cuts, walk cuts, charm cuts, solo start cuts, Paul cuts, Ringo cuts, John cuts, George cuts, walk play cuts, walk cuts, Prudence end cuts, sync you cuts, hello goodbye cuts, Kelida cuts, AGPR cuts, quartet cuts, dreamwave cuts, kick drum front cuts, pepper trumpet cuts, rev bomb cuts. Okay, so there's a lot of cuts, sure. Let's go over the most common used ones. The drum kit cuts basically cut to a shot of a part of the drum kit, such as a shot of the kick drum or the cymbal. Lyric cuts cut to a wide shot to display lyrics. You configure these in the song.json. Interact clips show a Beatle dancing or doing some sort of tomfoolery. This can be buggy at times, so I don't recommend using these as often. DC whatever Beatle cuts show the Beatle getting up close to the mic holding their headphones. Trio jam clips are like what you see in the birthday Dreamscape. George, John, and Paul get up close together and then they also walk out. Walk cuts show the Beatles walking, or a Beatle walking. Walk play has them walking but playing their instruments. GJPR green screen pan, rotate, invert rotate cuts all four of the Beatles while panning the camera. There are so many cuts that I can't go over all of them or else this video will be like hours long. Green screens are also a good thing to know about. Green screens are good for adding backgrounds to a certain part of your custom. Attention/look at events aren't too important for making your first Dreamscape, but they're pretty cool, not gonna lie. The way they work is that you would add an event like attention, focus, George between eyes. Then you would add the event look at 0. This means that the Beatle is not looking at the specific thing you want them to look at. Once you're at a point you want them to look at their hand or something, add look at 0, and then after that, look at 1. This will make the Beatles look at their hand or another Beatle. To make them stop looking in a specific direction, just add another look at 1, followed by another look at 0. What did I miss? Oh! Also, there are some weird cuts like lose, win, or intro venue. These usually play the cutscenes you see in the story mode when you first play a part of an era. What else? If you want to use a lyric cut, then make sure you add an animation event. This will add animation to the words that appear. An example of an animation event would be something like flipup.anim. Once you're done with your Dreamscape, you can go ahead and export it. Go to File, Export Project MIDI, export it to where your project is, and then save. Now let's head back to mackiloha and type in this command. p9songtool.exe project to Milo, yourcustom.milo _ps3. Replace your custom with your custom name, of course. Mackiloha should then make a Milo, which you can put in your custom file in your songs folder. Did I do it? Did I cover almost everything when it comes to creating Dreamscapes? Thank God, finally! Well, I hope this was useful in your Dreamscape endeavors, and now you can make the best Dreamscapes to ever exist. Though whatever you do, do not make a Wonderwall Dreamscape, please, for the love of God. Today was gonna be the day. Oh crap.